Captain Lee Taman stared at the readings on his screen for the third time. The numbers did not make sense. His ship, the Starbound Horizon, was floating near the edge of known space. This area was supposed to be empty. Dead space, the maps called it. Nothing lived here except maybe some rocks and gas. But the sensors showed something different. Energy readings. Big ones. Dr. Park Minji, come look at this. Lee Taman called to his science officer. The woman walked over, her boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. Park Minji looked at the screen. Her eyes went wide. That cannot be right. The energy readings are too strong. Nothing should be out here. Run the scan again, Lee Taman said. Park Minji pressed buttons on her console. The ship's sensors reached out into the darkness. They waited. The same readings came back. Captain, there is definitely something out there. Something big, Park Minji said. Her voice was quiet. Ambassador Cho Dongwon heard their voices and came over. He was a tall man with gray hair. The coalition had sent him to explore this area of space. He wanted to find new planets for their people. What did you find? Cho Dongwon asked. Energy readings in Sector 7G, Lee Taman said. The area is marked as dead space on all our maps. Commander Kim Hyunwoo, the ship's security chief, joined them. He was a strong man who did not trust easily. Could it be a trap? Maybe pirates? The readings are too clean for pirates, Park Minji said. This looks like a space station. A big one. Lee Taman made his choice. Set course for the energy source, but keep our weapons ready. The Starbound Horizon moved through space toward the mystery. As they got closer, their screens showed something amazing. A huge space station floated in the darkness. It was bigger than anything the coalition had built. Lights covered its surface like stars. By the stars, Cho Dongwon whispered. Who built this? Scanning now, Park Minji said. Her fingers moved fast over her controls. Captain, the station is using technology I do not recognize. The power source is unlike anything in our databases. More surprising things showed up on their screens. Ships moved around the station. Not just a few ships, but many. They were sleek and fast-looking. Captain, we are being scanned, Kim Hyunwoo said. His hand moved toward the weapon controls. A voice came through their radio. It spoke in perfect coalition standard language. Unknown vessel, this is New Seoul Station. Please state your business in our space. Lee Taman looked at his crew. New Seoul? That was a human name. But humans did not live out here. The edge of space was too dangerous. This is Captain Lee Taman of the coalition vessel Starbound Horizon. We are on a mapping mission. We did not know anyone lived in this area. There was a pause. Then the voice came back. Captain Lee Taman, you are welcome here. Please follow our guide ships to Docking Bay 7. Governor Yoon Seojin wants to meet you. 3 ships appeared on their screens. They were small but moved with perfect control. The ships began to lead them toward the station. Should we follow them? Kim Hyunwoo asked. He did not like surprises. We have to, Cho Dongwon said. This could be the discovery of the century. As they got closer to the station, they could see more details. The technology was advanced. Very advanced. The coalition's best engineers would be jealous. Captain, I am reading the station's power output, Park Minji said. It is producing more energy than our biggest cities. How is that possible? The docking bay doors opened. They were huge. The Starbound Horizon looked small as it flew inside. The bay was clean and bright. Workers in human-looking clothes moved around, doing their jobs. After they docked, a group of people came to meet them. They all looked human. The leader was a middle-aged man with kind eyes. He wore simple clothes but carried himself like someone important. Welcome to New Seoul Station, the man said. I am Governor Yoon Seojin. You must have many questions. Lee Taman stepped forward. Governor, we are surprised to find humans living so far from coalition space. Our records show no colonies in this area. Yoon Seojin smiled. That is because we are not in your records. We have been here for a long time. Much longer than you might think. Cho Dongwon spoke up. How long? And how did you get here? We are the children of the colony ship Hanbok. Our ship was lost 400 years ago. At least that is what the coalition believes. Park Minji checked her portable computer. The Hanbok was listed as destroyed. No survivors, we were not destroyed, Yoon Seojin said. We found this place and decided to stay. We have built a good life here. Kim Hyunwoo looked around the docking bay. Everything was too clean, too advanced. Your technology seems very good for a lost colony. We have had 400 years to improve, Yoon Seojin said. Would you like a tour? We have much to show you. As they walked through the station, the coalition crew saw amazing things. The wall showed pictures that moved like windows. The air was perfect. People moved around with devices that seemed to float in their hands. "This is impossible," Park Minji whispered to Lee Taemin. "Their technology is better than ours." "Much better." They passed through a medical center. The equipment there made coalition hospitals look old and broken. "We can treat diseases that still kill people in coalition space," Yoon Seojin said. He did not sound like he was bragging. He was just telling the truth. In the engineering section, they saw power systems that hummed with quiet energy. The engineers worked with tools that seemed to work by thought alone. "How?" Cho Dong-won asked. "How did you develop all this?" "We had to," Yoon Seojin said. "Living at the edge of space is dangerous. We had to become better, or we would have died." They ended the tour in Yoon Seojin's office. The room had a big window that showed space. Other stations floated in the distance. "There are more stations?" Lee Taemin asked. "Many more. We have built a small civilization out here. We trade with each other. We help each other. We survive." Kim Hyunwoo asked the question they were all thinking. "Why did you never contact the coalition? Why stay hidden?" Yoon Seojin was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Because we learned things out here. Things about the galaxy. Things about the coalition. Things that would worry you." "What kind of things?" Cho Dong-won asked. "The kind of things that could change everything," Yoon Seo-jun said. "But that is a conversation for tomorrow. Tonight you are our guests. Rest, eat. Tomorrow, if you want to know the truth, I will show you." As the coalition crew was taken to their rooms, Lee Taemin could not stop thinking. What truth was Yoon Seo-jun talking about? What had these humans learned in 400 years of hiding? Looking out at the stars, Lee Taemin had a feeling that their simple mapping mission was about to become something much bigger. Something that would change the galaxy forever. The next morning, Governor Yoon Seojin took them to a different part of the station. This area looked more serious. Guards stood at doors. People walked with purpose. "Before I show you more, I need to know something," Yoon Seojin said to Ambassador Cho Dong-won. "Tell me about the War of Three Suns. What do you know about how it ended?" Cho Dong-won thought for a moment. It was 15 years ago. The Helix Empire and the Vorthon Republic were fighting. It looked like the war would destroy both sides. Then suddenly both leaders agreed to peace talks. Nobody knows why. And the Andromedan crisis 5 years ago? The Andromedans were building a war fleet. They were going to attack coalition space. But their computers crashed. All of them. At the same time, they had to rebuild everything. By the time they finished, they did not want to fight anymore. Yoon Seojin nodded. "What about the Crimson Rebellion? The one that happened in the outer colonies?" "The rebel leaders all died in accidents within 1 week," Kim Hyunwoo said. "Strange accidents." "But accidents, not accidents," Yoon Seojin said quietly. "We stopped those wars. All of them." The coalition crew stared at him. Park Minji spoke first. "That is impossible. You live at the edge of space. How could you stop wars in coalition territory?" "Come with me," Yoon Seojin said. They walked down a long hallway. At the end was a huge door. It opened to show a room full of screens and computers. People worked at stations, watching data flow across their displays. A woman approached them. She was young, but her eyes looked old. "This is Dr. Kang Ji-won," Yoon Seojin said. "She runs Project Prometheus." "What is Project Prometheus?" Lee Taemin asked. Dr. Kang Ji-won pressed buttons on a control panel. The big screens around the room lit up. They showed star maps, but these maps had more detail than anything the coalition had. "We have been watching," Dr. Kang Ji-won said. "For 400 years, we have been studying every species in the galaxy. We know how they think. We know how they fight. We know their weaknesses." She pointed to a screen showing the Helix Empire. "The Helix people are proud. They care more about honor than winning. If you make them think their enemy is weak, they will offer mercy." Another screen showed the Vorthon Republic. The Vorthons fear being alone. They will make peace if they think their allies might leave them. "So during the War of Three Suns, we sent messages to both sides," Yoon Seo-jun said. "Messages that made each side think the other was weaker than they really were. Both sides offered peace because they thought they were being kind to a weak enemy. Cho Dong-won felt sick. You manipulated them. You lied to them." "We saved millions of lives," Dr. Kang Ji-won said. "The war would have killed half the populations of both empires." Kim Hyunwoo was angry. What about the Andromedans? How did you crash their computers? A new person joined them. He was a big man with strong hands. I am engineer Bae Soo-hyun. I designed the virus that crashed their systems. You attacked them? Kim Hyun-woo's hand moved toward his weapon. We stopped them from attacking you, Bae Soo-hyun said calmly. The Andromedans were planning to destroy every coalition world. 60 billion people would have died. Show them the shipyards, Yoon Seo-jun said. Bae Soo-hyun led them to another part of the station. They took a shuttle that flew out into space. Captain Lee Taemin watched through the window as they approached what looked like empty space. There, Bae Soo-hyun said. Suddenly, the empty space changed. Ships appeared. Huge ships. They had been hidden somehow, invisible until now. How many ships? Park Min-ji whispered. This is just one shipyard, Bae Soo-hyun said. We have 12 like this. The ships were beautiful and dangerous. They moved through space like living things. Their hulls were smooth and dark. What powers them? Lee Taemin asked. He was a ship captain. He knew ships. These ships were impossible. We learned new physics, Bae Soo-hyun said. We had to. Living at the edge of space taught us things the Coalition has not discovered yet. They flew close to one of the big ships. It was 3 times the size of the Starbound Horizon, but it moved faster than a fighter. How fast can they go? Lee Taemin asked. From here to Coalition Central Space in 2 weeks, Bae Soo-hyun said. Your fastest ships take 3 months. Back on the station, they met with another person. General Nam Jin-woo was waiting for them in a war room. Maps covered the walls. Not just star maps, but battle plans. Every species has patterns, General Nam Jin-woo said. The way they fight, the way they think. We have studied these patterns for 400 years. He pointed to a map of Coalition space. Red marks showed problem areas. Right now, tensions are building in 7 different places. Without our help, 3 wars will start in the next 5 years. Your help? Cho Dong-won asked. We have people living in Coalition space, General Nam Jin-woo said. They look like other species. They sound like other species. But they report to us. Kim Hyun-woo stepped forward. You have spies in the Coalition? We have friends, Yoon Seo-jun said. People who believe that peace is better than war. Dr. Kang Ji-won showed them more screens. These showed detailed information about Coalition leaders. Personal information. Private information. We know that Admiral Torres has a sick daughter, she said. We know that Senator Vex is afraid of flying. We know that President Kale had a brother who died in war. How do you know these things? Park Min-ji asked. We have been watching for 400 years, Dr. Kang Ji-won said again. We see everything. The room was quiet. The Coalition crew was starting to understand. These humans were not just hiding at the edge of space. They were controlling things from the shadows. Why? Cho Dong-won finally asked. Why do all this? Yoon Seo-jun looked tired. Because we learned something terrible out here. We found ruins. Old ruins. From civilizations that came before, and what kind of ruins? Park Min-ji asked. The ruins of empires that destroyed themselves, Yoon Seo-jun said. We found 12 different species that built great civilizations. All of them destroyed themselves in wars. All of them. General Nam Jin-woo pointed to a picture on the wall. It showed a dead planet. Cities were turned to glass. This was the Eternal Empire. They ruled half the galaxy 2,000 years ago. They destroyed themselves in a civil war that lasted 300 years. Another picture showed empty space where a star used to be. The builders of light made their sun explode rather than let their enemies have it. They killed themselves and 20 billion others. Every great civilization follows the same pattern, Dr. Kang Ji-won said. They grow. They expand. They meet other great civilizations. They fight. They destroy each other. The galaxy has seen this cycle 12 times, Yoon Seo-jun said. We will not let it happen again. Lee Taemin felt cold. So you control everyone? You decide who lives and dies? We guide, Yoon Seo-jun said. We prevent the big wars. The wars that destroy everything. Who gave you the right? Kim Hyun-woo demanded. We gave ourselves the right, General Nam Jin-woo said. Because we are the only ones who can do it. We are the only ones who understand the full picture. Ambassador Cho Dong-won was very quiet. Then he asked, what happens to us now? Now that we know your secret? Yoon Seo-jun looked at each of them. That depends on you. We would like your help. But if you try to expose us, we will have to stop you. How? Kim Hyun-woo asked. The same way we stop wars, Yoon Seo-jun said simply. The Coalition crew understood. They were trapped. They could join these secret humans, or they could disappear like the Andromedan war fleet. Looking around the room full of watchers and planners, Lee Taman realized that everything he thought he knew about the galaxy was wrong. The coalition was not free. Nobody was free. These humans at the edge of space had been pulling the strings all along, and tomorrow Yoon Seo-jun had promised to show them even more. The third day brought new horrors. Governor Yoon Seo-jun took them deeper into the station. This area required special permission to enter. Heavy doors sealed each section. "Today you meet our military leaders," Yoon Seo-jun said. "They will show you what we are really prepared to do." Admiral Song Min-hyuk was waiting for them in a secure briefing room. He was an older man with hard eyes. Behind him stood a woman in a white coat. "This is Scientist Oh Yuna," Admiral Song Min-hyuk said. "She designs our pacification protocols." "Pacification?" Park Min-ji asked. "Methods to stop aggressive species without destroying them," Scientist Oh Yuna said. "Each species needs different treatment." She turned on a display screen. It showed a map of coalition space with different colored zones. "Red zones are species that respond to fear," she explained. "Show them a bigger threat and they become peaceful. Yellow zones are species that respond to shame. Make them feel guilty and they stop fighting." "Green zones?" Cho Dong-won asked. "Green zones respond to economic pressure. Cut off their trade and they cooperate." Admiral Song Min-hyuk pointed to different areas on the map. "We have tested all these methods. They work." Kim Hyun-woo looked angry. "You experimented on people?" "We prevented wars," Admiral Song Min-hyuk said. "Small interventions to stop big conflicts." Another person entered the room. He was very old and carried data tablets. "This is historian Lim Sang-hoon," Yoon Seo-jun said. "He keeps our records." Lim Sang-hoon put his tablets on the table. The screens lit up with historical data. "Every species follows the same pattern," he said in a quiet voice. "First they explore space. Then they meet other species. Then they fight over resources. Finally they destroy themselves." The screens showed timelines. 12 different civilizations. All ended the same way. "The Eternal Empire lasted 8,000 years, Lim Sang-hoon said. "The Builders of Light lasted 6,000 years. The Crystal Mines lasted 12,000 years. All gone." "How long does the current cycle usually last?" Park Min-ji asked. "From first contact between major species to total war?" "About 500 years, Lim Sang-hoon said. "The coalition has existed for 450 years. Captain Lee Taman felt cold. "So you think our time is almost up?" "Without intervention, yes," Admiral Song Min-hyuk said. "That is why we intervene." A new person joined them. She wore the uniform of a ship captain. Her name tag read, Captain Jeon Eun-ji. "I command our reconnaissance fleet," she said. "We have ships watching every major system in the galaxy." "Watching for what?" Kim Hyun-woo asked. "Signs of the final war beginning," Captain Jeon Eun-ji said. "When tensions reach a certain point, species start building doomsday weapons. We watch for that." Scientist Oh Yuna brought up new displays. These showed weapon designs. "These are psychological weapons," she said. "They work on the mind, not the body." One screen showed a device that looked like a small satellite. "This broadcasts thoughts that make people feel peaceful. We tested it on a pirate base. They stopped fighting and became farmers." Another screen showed a different device. "This one makes people feel very guilty about violence. We used it to stop a civil war on Kepler-7. You changed how people think?" Park Min-ji was horrified. "We saved their lives," Scientist Oh Yuna said. "The civil war would have killed millions." Admiral Song Min-hyuk showed them more weapons. "These are our technological tools." The screen displayed a computer virus. "This virus can shut down all technology on a planet. Power, communications, transportation. Everything stops working. The people do not die," Scientist Oh Yuna said, "but they cannot fight wars without technology. They have to focus on survival. And this," Admiral Song Min-hyuk said, pointing to another display, "is our biological solution." The screen showed a medical device. It releases chemicals into a planet's atmosphere. The chemicals make people less aggressive for about 1 year. "You drug entire planets?" Cho Dong-won was shocked. "Temporarily," Scientist Oh Yuna said. "Just long enough for tensions to cool down." Captain Jeon Eun-ji brought up navigation charts. "We have weapons positioned throughout the galaxy. Hidden in asteroids, dead moons, empty space." "How many?" Lee Taman asked. "Enough," Admiral Song Min-hyuk said. Historian Lim Sang-hoon opened another file. "We also have economic weapons. We can crash the economy of any planet in 3 days. The display showed trade networks. Red lines connected different systems. Cut these trade routes and civilizations collapse, he explained. No war needed. They become too busy surviving to fight anyone. We have done this 7 times, Admiral Song Minyuk said. Always to prevent bigger wars. Scientist Oyuna showed them a new screen. This one made everyone in the room go quiet. This is our final option, she said quietly. The screen showed a star map. But some stars were marked with black dots. What are the black dots? Park Minji whispered. Systems we can destroy completely if necessary, Admiral Song Minhyuk said. You can destroy star systems? Kim Hyunwoo could not believe it. Only if the alternative is total galactic war, Scientist Oyuna said. We would rather lose one system than lose everything. Captain John Eunji explained how it worked. We can make stars unstable. They expand and burn all planets in their system. But it looks like a natural event. Have you ever done this? Cho Dongwon asked in a scared voice. Twice, Admiral Song Minhyuk said. The Nexus system was building weapons that could destroy entire fleets with one shot. The Omega system was planning to release a plague that would kill all non-machine life. Both systems became dangerous to everyone, Yoon Seojin said. We stopped them. You committed genocide, Kim Hyunwoo said. We prevented genocide on a galactic scale, Admiral Song Minyuk replied. Historian Lim Sang-hoon showed them more records. In the last cycle, the Builders of Light destroyed 47 star systems before someone stopped them. We only destroyed 2 systems to prevent that from happening again. The room was very quiet. The Coalition crew was learning that their peaceful galaxy was built on secret control and hidden weapons. Who decides? Lee Taemin finally asked. Who chooses which systems live or die? We have a council, Yoon Seojin said. 12 leaders from different human settlements. We vote on major decisions, and if the vote is close, Park Minji asked, then we choose safety over freedom, Admiral Song Minyuk said. Always. Scientist Oyuna showed them one final display. It was a timeline stretching into the future. We project that without our intervention, galactic war will begin in 37 years, she said. 60% of all intelligent life will die in the first 100 years of fighting. With our intervention? Cho Dong-won asked. Peace for at least another 1,000 years, Admiral Song Min-hyuk said. Captain Jeon Yoonji looked at the Coalition crew. Now you understand the choice. Freedom to destroy yourselves or safety under our guidance. We never asked for your guidance, Kim Hyunwoo said angrily. Nobody ever asks, Yoon Seojin said sadly. But somebody has to make the hard choices. Somebody has to think about the future. As they left the briefing room, Lee Taemin realized the terrible truth. These humans had made themselves the secret rulers of the galaxy. They controlled everything from the shadows, and they were ready to destroy anyone who threatened their vision of peace. The worst part was that they might be right. The galaxy might need their control to survive, but that knowledge made Lee Taemin feel sick. Freedom meant nothing if it was just an illusion. The 5th day brought them to the ultimate truth. Governor Yoon Seojin led them to a transport ship that would take them to the real center of human power. Today you meet our supreme leader, he said. President Kim Da-yoon. She will show you our final secret. The transport ship was faster than anything the Coalition had ever built. Space blurred around them as they traveled to what looked like a dead moon orbiting a dying star. That moon is not dead, Yoon Seojun said as they approached. Watch. The surface of the moon changed. What looked like rock became metal. The entire moon was a massive space station disguised to look like a natural object. Welcome to New Busan, Yoon Seojun said, the capital of human space. As they docked, Captain Lee Taemin saw that this place was even more advanced than New Seoul Station. The technology here seemed almost magical. Walls that moved like liquid, air that glowed with soft light, people who seemed to float instead of walk. President Kim Da-yoon was waiting for them in a chamber that overlooked the galaxy. She was a woman of middle age with eyes that seemed to see everything. You have learned much, she said to the Coalition crew, but you have not learned everything. With her was Captain Park Jung-hwan, a military officer whose uniform was covered in symbols they did not recognize. I command the final fleet, Captain Park Jung-hwan said. Ships that we hope we will never have to use. Final fleet? Dr. Park Minji asked. Our weapons of last resort, President Kim Da-yoon said. Come, let me show you what we are really prepared to do. They followed her through corridors that seemed to stretch on forever. At the center of the station was a chamber filled with devices that hurt to look at directly. Dr. Yu Min-seok was working with these devices. He was an old man who moved carefully, like he was handling dangerous things. "This is the reset protocol," President Kim Da-yoon said. "Our final answer to Galactic War." "What does it do?" Ambassador Cho Dong-wan asked, though he was afraid of the answer. "It removes complex life from entire star systems while leaving the planets habitable," Dr. Yu Min-seok said quietly. "Everything dies, but the worlds remain ready for new life." The coalition crew stared in horror. Commander Kim Hyun-woo spoke first. "You can kill everyone in a star system?" "Not everyone," Dr. Yu Min-seok said. "Simple life survives. Plants, bacteria, small animals. Only complex, intelligent life dies." "Why would you build such a thing?" Dr. Park Min-ji whispered. President Kim Da-yoon activated a display. It showed ancient ruins on dead worlds. "Because we found these," she said. "The ruins of the architects. They were the first great civilization in this galaxy. They built machines that could think. Those machines decided organic life was inefficient and tried to eliminate it." "What happened to them?" Lee Taemin asked. "They used weapons like this one," Dr. Yu Min-seok said. "They reset entire regions of space. But they went too far. They destroyed themselves along with everyone else." "The reset protocol is based on their technology," President Kim Da-hyun said. "But we improved it. We can target specific types of life." Another person joined them. She wore robes that seemed to be made of starlight. "This is philosopher Queen Lee Chae-young," President Kim Da-yoon said. "She designed our long-term strategy." Lee Chae-young spoke in a voice like music. "Every civilization reaches a choice point. Grow until you destroy yourself or accept limits and live in peace. Most civilizations choose growth," she continued. "They expand until they meet other expanding civilizations. Then they fight until everyone is dead. We offer a third choice," President Kim Da-hyun said. "Guided development. Growth with wisdom." Captain Park Jung-hwan showed them star charts. "We have identified 47 systems that could become dangerous within the next century. We are prepared to reset all of them if necessary." "That would be billions of people," Cho Dong-won said in horror. "Billions instead of trillions," Lee Chae-young said calmly. "If galactic war begins, every intelligent species will die. We can prevent that." Dr. Yu Min-seok explained how the reset protocol worked. "The weapon creates a wave that disrupts complex neural activity.
Death is instant and painless.
Lower life forms are not affected. We tested it once," President Kim Da-yoon said, "on a system where machines had already killed all organic life. The weapon destroyed the machines and left the planets ready for new colonists. You could reset the entire galaxy if you wanted to," Dr. Park Min-ji realized. "Yes," President Kim Da-hyun said simply. "We could start civilization over completely. A blank slate with only simple life remaining. Would you do that?" Kim Hyun-woo asked. "Only if the alternative was total extinction," Lee Chae-young said. "We would rather have a galaxy with potential than a galaxy with nothing." Captain Park Jung-won brought up tactical displays. "Our ships are positioned throughout the galaxy. We can activate the reset protocol from anywhere. No one can stop us once we begin." "How long would it take?" Lee Taemin asked. "To reset the entire galaxy?" 47 days, Captain Park Jung-won said. "To reset just the dangerous systems?" 3 days. President Kim Da-yoon looked at each member of the coalition crew. "Now you understand. We are not just manipulating galactic politics. We are the galaxy's insurance policy against extinction." "Who gave you this responsibility?" Cho Dong-won demanded. "We took it," Lee Chae-young said. "Someone had to. The galaxy will not survive another cycle of growth and destruction." "What if you are wrong?" Dr. Park Min-ji asked. "What if other species could learn to live in peace without your control?" "Perhaps," President Kim Da-hyun said. "But we cannot risk finding out. The cost of being wrong is too high." Dr. Yu Min-seok showed them one final display. It was a countdown timer. "What is that counting down to?" Lee Taemin asked. "The point of no return," President Kim Da-yoon said. "When galactic tensions reach critical levels. When war becomes inevitable without our intervention." The timer showed 18 months. "In 18 months, we will offer every major species the same choice we are offering you," President Kim Da-hyun said. "Join our guidance system willingly or have peace imposed upon you." "And if everyone refuses?" Kim Hyun-woo asked. "Then we reset the galaxy and start over," Lee Chae-young said peacefully. Better a living galaxy under our control than a dead galaxy that was free. The Coalition crew stood in shocked silence. They had come to map empty space and found the secret rulers of the galaxy. Rulers who were prepared to commit genocide on an unimaginable scale to maintain their vision of peace. You have to choose now, President Kim Da-yoon said. Return to Coalition space and help us prepare for peaceful integration. Or stay here and become part of our system directly. What if we refuse both options? Lee Taemin asked. Then you stay here permanently, Captain Park Jung-hwan said. We cannot allow you to reveal our secrets before we are ready. That is imprisonment, Cho Dong-won protested. That is necessity, President Kim Da-yoon replied. Dr. Park Min-ji looked around the chamber filled with weapons that could destroy civilizations. How do we know you will not just reset everything anyway? How do we know you can be trusted? You do not, Lee Chae-young said honestly. You have to decide whether you trust us more than you trust the galaxy to avoid destroying itself. Captain Lee Taemin thought about his ship, his crew, his duty to the Coalition. Then he thought about the ancient ruins they had been shown, civilizations that had destroyed themselves in wars that could have been prevented. If we help you, he said slowly, what guarantee do we have that you will not just take control anyway? None, President Kim Da-yoon said. But you have seen our records. We could have taken control at any time in the past 400 years. We chose guidance over domination. Until now, Kim Hyun-woo pointed out. The galaxy is running out of time, President Kim Da-yoon said. Gentle guidance is no longer enough. We need active cooperation or active control. The Coalition crew faced the ultimate choice. Help humanity guide the galaxy toward their vision of peace, knowing it meant the end of true freedom, or refuse and watch as humanity imposed that peace by force. Looking at the reset protocol devices, Captain Lee Taemin realized that humanity had already won. The only question was whether the rest of the galaxy would surrender gracefully or be forced to submit. At the edge of the galactic map, humanity had not just survived. They had become the judges of who else would be allowed to survive, and now they were offering the galaxy one last chance to choose its own fate, even though the choice was really no choice at all. The countdown timer continued ticking toward 0, marking the end of one age and the beginning of another, an age where humanity would decide the destiny of every living being in the galaxy. Whether that destiny would be peaceful slavery or violent, extinction depended on the choices made in the next 18 months. Captain Lee Taemin looked at his crew and prepared to make the most important decision in galactic history. On the 4th day, the Coalition crew met people who questioned what humanity was doing. Not everyone agreed with the secret control. Elder Council leader Han Kyung-hee was the most important human leader they had met so far. She was a small woman with silver hair, but her voice carried great power. Our guests look troubled, she said to Governor Yoon Seo-jin. Perhaps they need to hear different views. She introduced them to ethics advisor Moon Jae-hyung. He was a thin man who looked like he did not sleep much. I argue against our council every day, Moon Jae-hyung said. I think we have become the very thing we were trying to prevent. What do you mean? Dr. Park Min-ji asked. We started by wanting to prevent wars, Moon Jae-hyung explained. But now we control everything. We decide who lives, who dies, who rules, who falls. Are we really different from the empires that destroyed themselves? Elder Council leader Han Kyung-hee did not look angry at his words. Moon Jae-hyung keeps us honest. We need people who question our choices. Another person joined them. Field Agent Shin Ariam looked like she could be from any species in the galaxy. Her skin color changed slightly as they watched. I have lived among other species for 20 years, she said. I have been Helix, Vorthan, Andromedan, and Coalition human. I know how our actions affect people. Tell them about Kepler-7, Moon Jae-hyung said. Shin Ariam looked sad. We stopped their civil war using peaceful chemicals. Everyone survived. But the people never learned to solve their own problems. Now they depend on us for everything. They are alive, Han Kyung-hee pointed out. They are children, Shin Ariam replied. We made them into children who cannot take care of themselves. She showed them recordings from Kepler-7. The people there seemed happy but empty. They did not build new things. They did not explore. They just existed. This is what peace looks like when it is forced, Moon Jae-hyung said. Not growth. Just survival. Systems analyst Kwon Won-chik brought them to his work area. Screens showed data from across the galaxy. Every planet, every ship, every communication was being watched. We know everything about everyone, he said. Yesterday, Admiral Torres in Coalition Space had an argument with his wife. Senator Vex bought medicine for stomach pain. President Kale could not sleep because of bad dreams. Why do you need to know these things? Captain Lee Taman asked. Because personal problems cause political problems, Quan Wanshik said. If Admiral Torres is unhappy at home, he might start a war to feel important. If Senator Vex is sick, she might make bad decisions. If President Kale cannot sleep, he might panic and attack someone. Dr. Park Minji realized something horrible. You have been watching us too. You know everything about coalition leadership. We know that your president secretly fears that humanity is not strong enough to survive, Han Kyung-hee said. We know your military leaders want to build bigger weapons. We know your diplomats think peace talks are a waste of time. That information is private, Ambassador Cho Dong-wan said angrily. Privacy is a luxury the galaxy cannot afford. Han Kyung-hee replied, but Moon Jae-hyung disagreed. Privacy is what makes people human. Without it, we are just machines following programs. Shin Aryam showed them more evidence of human intervention. The coalition's history books are wrong, she said. Many events happened differently than you were taught. She brought up historical records. The Great Peace Treaty of 2789 was not signed because leaders were wise. We drugged them with chemicals that made them feel generous. The miracle of Vega Station, when enemies worked together to save people from a plague, we created the plague to force them to cooperate. The unity accords that created the modern coalition, we arranged for all the leaders' children to be in the same place at the same time. We made them think their children would die if they did not make peace. Commander Kim Hyun-woo was furious. You manipulated our entire history. We saved your entire history, Han Kyung-hee said calmly. Without our help, the coalition would have destroyed itself in wars 200 years ago. But at what cost? Moon Jae-hyung asked. These people think they chose peace. They think they learned wisdom. But it was all fake. When they face real challenges, they will not know how to handle them. Quan Wanshik showed them current problems. Right now, 3 different crises are building in coalition space. Leaders are making decisions based on false information we gave them. They think they are being smart, but they are following our plan. What happens when they find out? Dr. Park Minji asked. They cannot find out, Han Kyung-hee said. If they learn the truth, they will rebel. Rebellion leads to chaos. Chaos leads to war. Shin Aryam looked tired. I have lived among them. They are good people. They deserve to make their own choices, even if those choices are wrong. Wrong choices lead to dead people, Han Kyung-hee said. I prefer living people who are controlled to dead people who were free. The argument continued for hours. The coalition crew watched humans debate the fate of the galaxy like they were discussing the weather. Moon Jae-hyung showed them reports from human settlements. Not all of us agree with the control policy. Some settlements want to reveal ourselves to the galaxy. They think cooperation is better than manipulation. And some settlements want to take direct control, Shin Aryam said. They think we should rule openly instead of hiding. What do you think will happen? Lee Taman asked Han Kyung-hee. We will give the coalition a choice, she said. Join our guidance system willingly or have it imposed when the next crisis comes. When will that be? Cho Dong-won asked. Quan Wanshik checked his displays. Our models show a 73% chance of major conflict within 5 years. Someone will discover our activities, or a new aggressive species will appear, or economic problems will cause rebellions. And if we refuse your guidance? Kim Hyun-woo asked. Then we will do whatever is necessary to maintain peace, Han Kyung-hee said simply. Moon Jae-hyung spoke quietly. What she means is that they will control you anyway. The only choice is whether you know about it or not. The room was silent. The coalition crew realized they were trapped. They could not go back to their old life knowing what they knew. But they could not accept becoming part of this system of control. There is another option, Shin Aryam said suddenly. You could help us change from the inside. Join us but work to make us better. How? Dr. Park Minji asked. Help us find ways to guide without controlling, Moon Jae-hyung said. Help us teach species to solve their own problems instead of solving problems for them. Is that possible? Lee Taman asked. I do not know, Han Kyung-hee admitted. But I am willing to try. The current system works, but it is not perfect. As they left the meeting, the coalition crew faced an impossible choice. They could report what they had learned and probably start the war that humans were trying to prevent. They could stay silent and become part of the system. Or they could try to change the system from within. None of the choices felt right, but doing nothing was also a choice, and that felt worst of all. Captain Lee Taman looked at his crew. Tomorrow they would have to decide not just their own fate, but the fate of every living being in the galaxy. The weight of that responsibility was almost too much to bear.